everybody. This is Michael Tran. I'm your host today for the Office Industrial Connection Show. And today we have our guest, Nadim Ahmed, and he is the owner of Venture X in North Dallas, borders Addison. He picked a very good location. He's probably one of the best co-working spaces I've seen in DFW in terms of location, amenities, occupancy, and all the future stuff that they have for office. And I really wanted Nadim on the show just because Cody and I really believe, our whole team believes that co-working is the future of office space. And after the coronavirus passes, we really believe that everybody's going to look to co-working as a very safe option for their office solutions moving forward now that they're seeing all the amenities that co-working spaces provide. So Nadim, I'll let you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, well, Michael, thank you first of all, and then saying all these nice things about Venture X. I appreciate that. It's great always working with you guys and talking to you guys. You guys know so much about commercial real estate, so it's great to hear all aspects of it. As far as me, my background is really in just taking products to market. I've done that for corporations. I guess before that, I did my electrical engineering at Purdue. I did some engineering work, and then got my MBA, and then I got more into the business development, evaluating businesses, taking them to market. And I started doing that for companies, for corporations, and then I figured, well, instead of playing with poker chips, play with real money, and so I did it on my own, and kind of saw a need for co-working space. There was a gap, and we could get into that later if you want, but a gap meaning, so there's of course the ones, the really cool looking co-working spaces, and ours is really beautiful as well. But there was, what we try to do is have a blend between the really the hip, very garage feel type of co-working spaces, a combination of that with traditional, because we see more traditional people wanting to get into co-working for its amenities, for the networking. So we try to cater to more of a professional environment. We are still open and modern, as you guys have seen, and still have the vibe that's needed for a co-working space. But yeah, so I my last job was with Children's Hospital. I quit that, and then started this. I was actually probably not the best time to quit, and I don't know if it ever is, but my wife was pregnant with a third child, and we were in Children's Hospital, have good insurance, and then so she thought I was crazy to quit to go and start a new venture. But it's just, it felt right. I thought, obviously I have to consider what's good for the family, but it's something I had to do. I had to, I just couldn't see any other way. And then so I quit and started this in 2018. My son was born 4 days before I opened. Luckily not, it was actually planned for almost the same day, and we couldn't change the grand opening date either. So
nice.
So luckily it all worked out. My third son was in the grand opening, and so was my wife, and everything worked out. It was crazy times, still it's crazy times now. There's always going to be some things that's crazy, and we'll just work through it. And so anyway, 2 years later, I'm still here. My son is now 2 years old, and that's it. That's a little bit about me.
Dude, that's awesome. One thing about starting your own business, or like even real estate guys, we all basically run our own business.
Yeah.
And that's the same situation I was in. I had a very stable job before real estate, and then same thing, like you do something you really want to do, and you kind of just take that leap, whether it's for the good or the bad or worse, and for me, it actually turned out to be one of the best things I've ever done. And I'm sure it's the same for you.
Oh, yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's like one of the most rewarding things that I've ever done. Just being able to know, like, okay, I create my schedule. I get to meet with who I want to meet that day. I don't know what my next day is going to be like, and I don't know when my next paycheck is coming, but
Right.
that's okay because, working on whatever, all the buildings we work on, once it's closed and you look back, you want it to close, but at the same time, it's like the end of a chapter, and
Mm.
you're like, I didn't want that to end,
Yeah.
but it's so rewarding,
Oh
afterward.
yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I mean, from outside in, sometimes people, like when I started this whole thing, and my whole family, they were like really freaked out, and one of my uncle was like, I couldn't sleep at night because of what you told me of how much you're going to invest and everything. And I was like, just chill, it's okay, I got this, And then, I mean, I was not as I usually am more calm about things too, but so maybe I was didn't know what I was getting myself into, but at the same time, people were freaking out. I had like a group intervention of like they're like, what? So what is this you're doing? To ask my business plan and everything. They're like, how much money are you putting in? How much money? Blah, blah. But anyway, so from
dude, I
outside
love
in,
it.
sometimes is crazy. Like, why are you doing this when you have a good job, good insurance, but
Yep.
you have everything that's stable? Then why you want to get into that? But it's kind of like like it's funny because one of my older son, he's kind of like me in terms of thinking. When I was a
Hmm.
kid, I used to say like, why are we put in this world? He asks the exact same questions that I do, and he has the same things like, why are we put in this world? So we could be in this world and just exist and live and then die, or during the existence do something with it, right? I mean, I'm not here just to get a job and just to feed my family and just to exist. I want to do
Yeah.
more than that. And if it makes me fall and scratch myself and then have to get back up, that's fine. It's still, that's called living. This COVID thing, just part
Hmm.
of living. And unplanned stuff, and we'll get through it. We'll find solutions. Another thing I tell my son is, there's always going to be problems. Just find solutions.
Yeah.
Uh, so um, I don't stress out about like this COVID stuff. It is what it is. We can't control it. And we can
Yeah.
get into that, but yeah. So talking back in business is exciting. Yeah. And now, no, looking back, I mean, good or bad, I learned a lot. Just like you said, it's a great experience. Um, and luckily, I'm doing all right with it. I'm doing well, actually. And you know, of course, there's setbacks with the COVID, but we'll get through it. And after that, then we'll maybe open another one. Who knows? We'll see.
Good
We're looking
deal.
at that right now. So
Yeah. So tell us, how did you get into co-working, or
yeah,
did VentureX find you? Because I've been to like franchise shows and stuff like
sure.
that, and
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
seen them there, and they're
Okay.
advertising. So like, why did you choose VentureX? What about VentureX made you feel like they're the best co-working
Mhm.
franchise to go with? And yeah, why did you choose co-working in the
Yeah.
first place?
So yeah, it's interesting. So I went a little bit into my background. I evaluated a lot of businesses for corporations, and I also did it personally. I never got like really into stocks because there was no edge or differentiation for me. I always wanted to get into things that I could do a little uniquely, a little provide a value to a customer that others can't. And
Hmm.
so back in 2012, I saw the trend for co-working, but I didn't want to get into it because there was all these big players. And going back to me saying, uh, I couldn't differentiate between them. I couldn't provide something that was better than what they
Hmm.
were already providing. So why would I come and do the Me Too product? Same thing with stocks. The reason I brought up that up. So what I did do on the side, instead of like investing in just the market, was I opened a, a custom cubicle business where, so this was in 2012, where we would customize cubicles for companies here, and we would get them from Taiwan. So if you want wood panels, if you want glass, if you want different company colors on your cubicles, we'll get CAD drawings done, show you renderings. If you like them, we'll come and get it installed. And that business was actually doing pretty well. And my intention there was, again, to kind of liven up work. We care so much about our home, like what kind of granite we have or and things like that. But when it comes to our office, where we actually need to be more alive and more productive, uh,
Hmm.
we don't care. We just like, let's go there and come back home. And but instead, let's I thought we should make work more of an experience, and enjoy where you are and have a good environment. And cubicle was so dull to me. I was like, there has to be something better. So that's why I got into that. Like maybe we could update the cubicles. So we started doing all these like cool looking cubicles and stuff like that, and it was doing well. Um, I had a partner. I sold my share to the partner because I just without getting into that, it was we had different ways of working businesses. I
Yeah.
was looking long term. He wanted like I'm not so materialistic, and he wanted to just buy stuff all the time. Anyway, but I'm not saying that's a good or bad thing. I'm just that we had different methods.
Right.
So I sold my share of that in 2012, and then in 2016 I saw that VentureX just. And luckily, I was always researching business, and VentureX just started. Uh, Actually, the day I called United Franchise Group, their parent company, I was the
Mm-hmm.
first caller. Like that was the first day they put it on the website. VentureX in 2016 of I think July or August 2016. I called them. They weren't actually the person picked up didn't even know about VentureX at that point because it was and I was actually one of the first ones to sign the VentureX franchise. And as you know, there's like 100 signed locations. Well, not all open yet, and but even in Dallas, there's 10 locations. And so, and the reason I signed on is because I saw the professionalism. I saw that what I was trying to go for. It's a really it's one, it's a cool looking co-working space. It's modern. It has all the energy and the design from Gensler, nice high end furniture from Herman Miller, all that stuff. But it was also for professionals. And then the other cool thing is that it's franchise owned. So I could work with my members directly and me as an entrepreneur and see them grow while I'm also growing, and we help each other out, especially in times like these when we know like, look, I understand you got a new business and you got a hard time paying rent and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
We'll figure something out. We'll work it out. We got to have common sense and not just these are the procedures of our company kind of thing.
I
Um,
gotcha. Yeah. So,
so.
tell us about a little bit more about what makes you guys different from other
Sure.
coworking.
Yeah, and I alluded to that just a little bit, but so it really comes down to, I mean, I love all co-working spaces. They're all so cool,
Yeah.
all have their uniqueness, and so what for ours, we keep the modernness, the open floor, high ceilings, big with large windows. Make sure our vibe is right, and like when you come in, you feel like you want to come in and work, and
Mm-hmm.
almost feel like you're going to a Starbucks, but with less distraction kind of thing. But
Yep.
grander, obviously, than a Starbucks. But so there's that, but there's also the professionalism that a lot of, I'm not, again, there's all types of co-working. What we try to do is we're catering to a little older target market who are uncomfortable with the music and beer and the ping pong tables. They want a
Yeah.
more professional space to bring their clients to, if they're an attorney or whomever, even tech guys or, when you're dealing with hundreds of $1,000s of deals, you don't want to have music in the background or people playing ping pong in the background kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we just provide a more professional atmosphere like that. So that's one unique part. But yet at the same time, we're not as rigid as the traditional office spaces, right? So you're not walking into seeing a bunch of walls and doors and it's like, oh, just go to your office. You don't feel like you're coming into a dentist office or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. So we're a good blend of that. And then everything is high end. The other advantage, I think, and if you talk to customers or members, they'll agree with this, is that it's franchise owned. So for them, it's a good thing that they could just come to me and ask if there's any issues. They come directly to me, and I can't. Unfortunately for me, I have to find a solution. I can't just say, well, let me pass it on to corporate and let's see what they have to say about that. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
it stops here. So I take care of them as much as I can, especially during these times. And then at the same time, I'm an entrepreneur. I have my connections, they have theirs, and we work together. And we use a lot of our members for our own businesses. So we have members that does photography for all VentureX's, and they were a member in my place. Now they do photos for all VentureX locations, and then there's a lot of examples like that where we try to use our members for our own businesses. So
That's awesome. But yours is the only one with the cool Panther. Do you
oh
change
yeah.
do you change that out every now and then or
No, I love the van. I mean, yeah, that's just kind of like every franchise owner has his own little style, and
yeah.
that's kind of my style. I always like to try to go outside of just a little bit, push the boundaries,
Same here.
so, yeah. So, a lot of people. So yeah, we have a lot of unique things. You'll see a lot of cool quotes everywhere. The Panther, and then as you know, there's like the video studio, the podcast room, and then we have training rooms. We have nap rooms that like a lot of places don't. So yeah, and we have bikes. So what all those things, we're just trying to provide you all the amenities you may need.
Yeah. And
Whatever.
that's one thing. I actually touched on this the other day. Somebody had asked me, they're like, so what's going to happen to the office market? They're like,
Yeah,
it's done for. And I was
yeah,
like, why does everybody assume that? And I
yeah.
said, no, what's going to happen is they're going to, one, adapt to this
Right.
virtual meeting like we're doing now. And
Yeah,
then co-working spaces are already set up for that. And
right.
so if you guys are set up for that, then why does the office, like a regular general office space, need a conference room when they could just do a Zoom? And then
Exactly.
they can take that square footage and turn that into somebody's permanent office
Yeah,
instead. So now it's just going to adjust from utilizing their permanent space better and then having a co-working space where they can utilize the amenities that you guys already have instead of paying, these crazy triple net office deals in main CBDs,
yeah,
and they
yeah.
can go to where you are and then not pay twice as much basically
Right.
for what you guys have to offer. And so that's one thing I really wanted to point out for you guys because
Yeah,
that's something that is going to be irreplaceable moving forward with the new normal that
yeah.
everybody's talking about. But other than that, I mean, what are you seeing? So how is coronavirus affecting co-working now? And then we'll
Sure.
touch on how it is, or actually before coronavirus, how was it affecting everything? And then how is it now? And then we'll go over after. What do you
Sure.
see in the future?
Uh, yeah. So yeah, with before COVID, yeah. I mean, co-working is just we're co-working. We're sharing everything. So there's the benefit of that, like you were mentioning. We're sharing the lobby, the receptionist, the meeting rooms, the coffee. You're not worrying about do I have property insurance or do I have my internet's working? My network working, or we, for example, we have dedicated fiber, we have internet, backup internet, we take care of your mail, your packaging, and of course we have the network of all the members. So if you need an accountant, he's across the hallway from you, or a graphic designer could be, she could be in the next door.
Yeah.
So there's that aspect, the networking aspect, as well as all the amenities aspect, that's been there before the COVID, and that's why it's been leaning that way. And as more entrepreneurs and more people who are doing things on their own are existing, this thing is just going to grow. In the 80s, there was always about trying to get into corporate, getting into Wall Street, working for somebody, and now it's kind of like in 2000s it started changing to I want to create my own thing, and co-working spaces are there just to help them.
Hmm.
Do your own thing. And I'm not saying there aren't going to be big companies. There's always going to be big companies and people who work in them, but um, they're always going to need the resources. We're trying to be leaner. We're trying to be more agile. So we don't all need all these huge departments. We don't need a real estate department in our company. Let someone else handle that. So there's lots of benefits to co-working, and I could speak to that. The whole show could be just about that. So I'll spare you guys, but so yeah, the co-working is there, and even with this COVID, it's definitely here to stay. There is fear. There's people have fear, and maybe because of me being an entrepreneur, I see the optimism in things. I try to find the opportunities in, just like you guys do in real estate. try to find, basically going back to my product management days, I try to find people's pain and try to solve them. That's really the value that you
Hmm.
provide. And co-working, just to my point a little earlier, is we provide, we're all the money we're saving from the triple nets, the long-term lease, we're taking on all those risks, and then we're just passing on the savings and the benefits to you guys, to the people working in our space. So you're not worried about the 10-year lease or the triple nets or the operating expense. You're just part of that. And in this COVID environment, you need to be flexible. You need to be able to have month to month. You need to know when to grow, when to not grow. If you need a virtual office here, or maybe you have employees you no longer need a headquarter. They could be in Seattle, and we could have VentureX in Seattle where they could just go and work from. So you need to be agile like that, and co-working allows you to do that. Provides you the flexibility where you just have month-to-month membership. We have members that have only nights and weekend membership, right? Because they have full-time jobs. So there's a flexibility. And yes, the economy is going to be worse off after this COVID, unfortunately. But then the large corporations that had like this large uh, 20,000 square foot, 10,000 square foot of space, they're going to come down to seeing like, well, instead of having this one large headquarter, let's just have different co-working spaces where it's flexible, where we could have one in North Dallas, one in like Fort Worth, just different spaces for different employees, where they could sometime work from home, sometime work from the co-working space.
Hmm.
So I think the flexibility of it, the ability to have let us take on the risk, whereas instead of the companies, because that's not their core business, that's our business of the real estate, and you just focus on your business, we'll keep it there. The other aspect with this COVID, there's a fear, and like, I see a lot of articles on like how there will be like the 6 feet distancing and everyone's going to be like have to be separate. I think that's all temporary. I mean, once this whole thing goes away, it's kind of like, are there not going to be games you go to, or concerts, or movie theaters where so are we going to be sitting 6 feet away in movie theaters or in restaurant when you go there? Are people going to be wearing masks, and you're going to be asked to sit away from each other?
Hmm.
If that's true, then we are in bigger problems. In that case, we don't even, we forget capitalism, and all that in that case, because there's a lot of whole world is relied on that structure. So,
Hmm.
I think what it's going to be is, once the fear dies down, yes, there will always be an issue with this flu and vaccines and viruses, but we'll learn to deal with it better. We'll be less afraid of it. Like for example, with cars, it's unfortunate people get in accidents and people get critical situations out of it, but we just accept it. We just deal with it.
Hmm.
We don't start driving. I mean, that's the other option. Just start driving. No one will ever get in accidents. But what's then the economy is going to be like completely shut off. So yeah, I think this whole thing is a fear. It's like if you just stepped in and cars just came into our environment and everyone started getting accidents, everyone's going to say, well, why do we have cars? These are bad for us. Don't use them. They kill us,
Yeah.
right? But we're used to it. We know how to deal with it. Same thing with COVID. We'll learn to deal with it, and kind of will get back to normal. I mean, yes, there will be some changes. We'll have better cleaning procedures, but human interaction, that's not going to stop. I mean, this is not the first time there was quarantine. By the way, in U.S., there's been done in the past where there was quarantine in, I believe, in some kind of flu in 1920s or 30s, and there was a quarantine in in the US for like about 2 months then. And, we don't even know about that now.
Yeah,
So
I didn't either.
yeah. So exactly. So it's not the first time, and it's not going to be last, unfortunately, either,
Yeah.
but just learn to deal with it, and everything will get back to normal. And for the entrepreneurs, it will create opportunities and problems that they can have more solve, which is the upside to it, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. So, what do you see for the future of co-working? How is it going to evolve from this? are you guys going to, I'm sure you're going to have heavier cleaning measures, but what else are you guys going to do after this is all over?
Yeah, so I mean, even now we hired companies to do the spray of the whole place, disinfect, wipe down the everything, and just have better cleaning procedures. And these are things that are good regardless of the COVID. These are just good things, learning points to keep even after we find a vaccine. So we're going to continue to do that and be more aware of those kind of things. Um, the other thing is probably handshaking. I don't know if that's gonna stay or that's.
Yeah.
It's like I do elbow bumps now
Yeah.
but so there's going to be changes, and yes, there is going to be some distancing between, because in the 2000 we were going from cubicles and things like that to everyone in closed quarters of each other. So like put them all in this open area and together, which is fine. But I think we're going to be having less of that now. And VentureX is luckily our offices are generally larger than other co-working spaces and stuff. But we'll have to continue to keep that in mind, to make sure that we can't cram people into spaces, even though that's really weird. We're trying to maximize real estate, but people are, at least for the next 5 years, are going to have that in the back of their mind of like, I don't want to be too close to everyone, because of what I can catch from them. So we're going to have more room between each other.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to need the community more than before. And you need the community more in hard times than in good times. So there's, as you could see in the COVID, everyone's trying to get work together, just calling each other even virtually or through the phone or something, or just passing out information, emailing each other information they're finding out. So the need of a community in a co-working space is going to be even greater as well at the same time. So we'll see. I mean, no one knows for sure, but just my thoughts on it.
Good deal. So how do people get in touch with you? Where's
Yeah.
your location?
Yep.
And go ahead and provide that so they can go find the best co-working space here in DFW.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for the plug. So my location is next to the Galleria, VentureX Dallas by the Galleria. It's we should be opening May 18th. We're semi-open, but fully open May 18th. Come down. I'd love to talk to you about co-working or anything business related, or even non-business related. But just come down for a tour, or just to come and just talk. You could also email me, so maybe write this down because it's my name, which is Nadim, Nadim Ahmed, Ahmed @venturex.com. And then I'd love to hear from you guys and love to share anything I can. So
Good deal. So you guys heard it here first. The Texas Office Industrial Connection Show. Next week we have Cody Payne, who's going to be hosting. Be sure to tune in. Have a good day. See ya.
all right, thanks, Michael. Thank you,
You're
guys.
welcome. Take care.